I was talking to another business owner yesterday, and he mentioned that he had left the floor coating business with his epoxy business because it had just been overly commoditized, because the barrier to entry for having other people come into the industry was really, really low. You take a one-day course to get a supplier. Well, hey, suddenly you're a flooring expert. And what had happened was, because of his marketing, even though he is a premium product and service provider, he's just continually getting hammered down on price because of the way his marketing was. And that's pretty common in most markets. So if you think about this, if you haven't positioned yourself as the number one expert in your local market, and that is not as hard to do as you might think it is. Like, you don't have to be Apple, for example, who's definitely positioned themselves as the number one manufacturer of cell phones. They've done a great job of it. In a local market, doing that is actually fairly easy. And by doing so, what happens is, let me give you a math example on why this happens. Let's say there are, in a given market, there are 30 people that do what you do, including yourself. What that means is that if you are all running Facebook ads to promote your service, and the average person is going to get 3 quotes in order to decide who they want, you take those 38 people that are all running ads, and they want 3 quotes. So your ads are roughly 1 in 10 that you're going to get selected to provide a quote. And then, because you haven't differentiated yourself, now the person who is not an expert in what you do, how do they determine who they're going to buy from? Well, probably likability, and more importantly, price, because that's the only thing they compare. They can't compare, your prep method versus someone else's, or your product versus, because they don't know how to compare it, right? They can't read a technical data sheet. They don't know the difference between, for example, say diamond grinding and shot blasting. All they want to know is the floor what you're coating is going to get stuck to the floor. So it's usually a price option. So now you're 1 of 10 and 1 of 3. So your odds of getting a job are 3%, and it's probably based on being the cheapest provider. Bad position to be in. Flip that around. Become the number one provider in your market. And the difference now is that instead of having a 1 in 10 chance, you're probably going to have like a 90% chance of always being the person that they want to have a quote from, because you're the expert. They see you, they know you, they know your expertise because of your marketing and your branding, and they know who you are. And every market has one. There's a local plumber here in Calgary that everybody knows, called Pete the Plumber. Do you think he gets a ton of phone calls? I guarantee you he gets a ton of phone calls, because everybody knows who he is. They're going to phone Pete, and they're going to look up for 2 other ones on Google, but Pete will always get the opportunity to quote. So he's always there. So his odds go immediately from 3% to 33%. That's a 11 times fold increase. Pretty good. Now, if you're also promoting your expertise so that people know that you know what you're doing, and they like you, and they trust you, and they've seen you, they see you on videos, they see you in your ads, they see you everywhere, you can also charge more. Because if I'm going to give $5,000 for a job to somebody that I see in my local market has shown he's an expertise, or somebody I don't know from Boo, who am I more likely to give the money to? Answer's obvious. Now, am I willing to pay him $500 more than the guy who, and pay $5,500 instead of $5,000? If the trust is high, absolutely, I will do that. And that is the positioning you should be doing in your local market. Is you should be working to position yourself as the local expert, the person who knows everything about what it is that is going to solve their problem. You do that by putting out content continuously, always being out front, always being there. And by doing that, you set yourself up for long-term success. And the longer you do this, the harder it is for anyone else to displace you. It's an omnipresent campaign that means you're always out there, always putting yourself in front of everyone, making you the local expert. If you like tips like this, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wildly profitable day.